Howdy, 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 my name is Anachi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, well, the last episode, the last one of these episodes, I know that I read Self-Made Man and not Building Complex. So we're going to start with Building Complex and see how far we get. I don't know what I'm going to aim for. Building Complex is number 238. I'll just see how it goes. I know I want to read A Harmless Kitten, because that one's interesting. So, Building Complex is... Are we doing this again? Is everything going to be keter in this episode again like the other one? Why is it always buildings? Is it even actually a building? Because that looks like some sort of weird underground tunnel track thing. Okay, guess I gotta use my serious keter voice immediately. My nose is kind of stopped up, so I don't know how it's going to go. But let's find out! SCP-238 is currently contained by the original means. Current SCP protocols have proven unable to fully contain 238. All exploration of SCP-238 is suspended until full sustained containment has been achieved. Any and all personnel attempting to enter 238 are to be physically restrained and moved to an outside containment area. Upkeep of the current barrier is top priority, and a minimum of 2 personnel are to be present at all times for upkeep and security. No testing, samples, or exploration may be conducted within 238 until full containment of 238 has been achieved, or with approval by Site Overwatch. Any and all persons entering are to be deemed missing or presumed dead. SCP-238 is an enormous underground facility with a single entrance on the island Shemidta to the extreme north of Russia. Tunnel networks have been shown to extend for thousands of kilometers, with major junctions under data expunged. Oceanic junctions have also been observed to include several connections to data expunged. When originally found, the entrance was sealed behind a massive wall of bricks covered in carvings. This wall was removed and exploration began. Initial tests showed the walls of 238 were primarily fossilized tissue of unknown origin. Several structures within the facility led to initial exploration teams to conclude that 238 is or was at least half biological. Shortly after discovery of a central chamber reported to consist of partially rotted flesh and badly decayed metal structures, personnel began to disappear and numerous accidents claimed 8 lives. Noises and other hallucinations were reported along with blank and other data expunged. 8 containment walls and associated personnel were destroyed by unknown means, with a survivor reporting blank blank, unconfirmed, in addition to rapidly escalating aggressive phenomena by 238. Replacement of the original wall has contained the item effectively, but new SCP containment and research strategies have been requested, as the current containment prevents in-depth exploration and experimentation. Addendum 238-7. Upon the escape of 6 juvenile instances of SCP-1013, the local SCP team assigned to 238 reported 1013 squeezing through the original wall and entering the underground chambers. After 05 blank 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 and Dr. Blank and Dr. Blank were notified, they elected to send a single team to retrieve 1013. Further information regarding the expedition is found in document S7A with clearance level 3 required. The end result of the retrieval team were 6 dead, 2 critically injured, 1 missing in action, and the 6 juvenile 1013 instances being recaptured. Further research into 238 will be carried out by Dr. Blank and his research staff under SCP supervision. Audio log retrieval of 1013. Begin. Skip 3 hours 41 minutes 16 seconds. Personnel D-239. I don't see nothing. Not that damn thing we're looking for, not that fucking suit that was supposed to watch us, not even a goddamn exit. You will hold your comments, Agent Blank is currently covering the central chamber so nothing can escape. Like us? I don't see. Shut it. Why I have to? I don't see. Shut it. Why I have to? I said quiet. Now. Carry on like a fucking Boy Scout. Shut the hell up, you idiot. There's moving up ahead. Sounds of scraping and grinding are heard. Several minutes pass. That don't look like number blank, but that ain't natural. Incomprehensible. That's not. Delta 299er, open fire now. Sounds of gunfire are heard. Agent Blank, life signs terminated. Disposable, life signs terminated. End. Oh, data expunged during recovery operation. All recovery operations suspended. It appears to be something looking at them. Yeah, I don't really... Once again, I'm pretty sure that the reason it's keter is because they can't contain it. Because as was explained to me all those months ago, the classes aren't how dangerous the thing is, it's how difficult or easy it is to contain it. So, since this is tunnels with some sort of death hallways that can't be contained, it's keter. But then, also, gigantic women in space that can predict the apocalypse are also keter, so it seems more like keter is just really, really dangerous, deadly shit, and not just can't contain it. So, next up is the Witch Child, which will be probably Euclid, but probably maybe safe, because there's the child. Nope, never mind. Never mind. Witch Child is also keter. Okay. Okay, so... back to the serious keter voice. SCP-239 is to be kept within a one-room cell furnished with one bed, one EKG machine, and one IV to be filled with pentobarbital mixed with data expunged to be refilled daily. Under no circumstances is 239 to be removed from her containment area at any given time. The walls of this cell are to be coated in a telekill lead alloy. Only Class 2 personnel are allowed any contact with 239 at any time. All personnel guarding 239's containment area are to be equipped with a telekill headgear, SCP-148. Subject's proper name is Sigurdos Stefansdottir. Under absolutely no condition should the subject ever be awakened. Any personnel found attempting to awaken the subject will be immediately terminated. SCP-239 appears to be an 8-year-old girl, 1 meter in height and 20 kilograms in weight. Subject has shoulder-length blonde hair. Upon closer inspection, the subject's eyes shimmer a gray-green shade. Subject seems to emit a previously undiscovered form of radiation which has been named blank. These waves seem to be harmless in low concentrations, but in higher concentrations they could break down matter on a subatomic level. SCP-239 seemingly has the ability to do whatever she expresses a will to do. Put simply, the subject can do anything that she truly wants to do on a basal psychological level as long as she is conscious. Fortunately, she seems only to be able to affect herself and her immediate surroundings. Therefore, if she can see it, she can change it. It would not be the most prudent course of action, however, to try to test how powerful she can be. She seems to be able to create and affect living matter. For example, when a D-Class personnel accidentally caused her harm, she simply wished him away. Fortunately, when the subject was made to feel guilty for what she had done, she wished him back. SCP-239's self-preservation instinct makes her virtually invincible while she is conscious. Subject's skin cannot be punctured by anything except SCP-148. As a method of controlling the subject's ability, she has been told that she is a witch. This, besides improving morale greatly, makes her believe that she is unable to use her abilities outside of a pre-approved list of spells given to her by the SCP Foundation. This will hopefully prevent any and all attempted escapes. However, the subject is to be kept calm at all times to prevent any subconscious wish of harm to herself or others. Origin. SCP-239 came to the attention of the Foundation very soon after her birth in blank blank. Approximately 3 hours after the subject's birth, blank blank hospital was destroyed by an unexplained explosion. The press was informed that it was due to a gas leak. SCP teams were dispatched shortly to search the site for any abnormalities. The only living person they were able to locate was SCP-239. For the next 8 years, the subject was raised under SCP care. As of blank blank 2000 blank, the subject is to be kept in a medically induced coma until further notice. This decision was made by data expunged. SCP-239 is permanently contained in Site-17. Note from Dr. Blank dated December 26, 2004. Who the hell thought it would be a good idea to tell her about Santa Claus, and then tell her it was just a story? Now we have another potential SCP to deal with, but we can't catch him because he's magic! Dr. A. Clef's report. My analysis of the situation has led me to the conclusion that SCP-239 is an unacceptable containment and security risk. Although several proposals have been made regarding using her for containing other SCPs, the example of SCP-953 and others must serve as a stark reminder of the risk of overestimating the Foundation's ability to control SCPs with reality-altering powers. I would therefore like to make the following proposal. A piercing implement will be constructed of SCP-148, capable of penetrating her otherwise impenetrable skin. This tool will be used to kill her while she is asleep and her powers are neutralized. Because of the danger of S-239 awakening and resisting termination, it is my recommendation that the selected operative carry 668 as well, in order to minimize complications. One of the dangers of this procedure is the possibility that she will awaken and perceive the operative as a friend or good person, thus changing reality to match. It is for this reason that I would like to volunteer to carry out the procedure personally. A review of my personnel file should indicate that my data expunged should allow me to carry out the operation even after a reality shift of this nature. Clef. I wonder what the deal is with Clef. Well, Resurrection A9 did say that Clef might possibly be an SCP that can alter reality around him or herself. So, if we want to believe Project Resurrection A9, then Clef's not human, so that's probably what was data expunged. Now it's time for the breath-powered flying machine, which is safe? Okay. SCP-240 is to be kept in the secure artifact storage facility in Site-77, which is clickable for some reason. Huh. These aren't usually clickable. Due to its age and delicate construction, 240 is to be contained in a vacuum-sealed container with humidity and temperature levels constantly monitored and controlled. The mouthpiece is to be permanently covered. No subjects are permitted to enter the containment chamber. So then, SCP-240 is a vehicle capable of air travel. It is constructed from a wooden snow ski the user places their feet upon, a mouthpiece connected to a pipe device, and 2 steel drums welded to the sides, which allow for exhaust. What could possibly be the exhaust if it's powered by breath? How far could it go? The words "Morsome Kite" have been painted on the bottom of the ski. The words "From many comes might" has been embossed on the sides of it. When activated, 240 is capable of flying for approximately twice the duration of the user exhaling into its mouthpiece. Following this, it will enter a slow descent and ultimately land. Although it can only take off from land, testing has shown that 240 is capable of landing on water and heavier than air gases. For every 1 Newton of force the user exerts into 240, there will be 50 Newtons of thrust in return. It produces dust emissions within the barrels. These emissions contain minerals such as nickel, copper, gold, platinum, potassium, feldspar, and pyroxferroite. However, the steel drums do not appear to have any connection to the mouthpiece or piping. Additionally, users utilizing 240 have occasionally reported tasting ammonia, sulfur, and having hot gas rush cause severe lung discomfort. Post-test medical examinations have not shown any corroborating damage to the subject's bodies. SCP-240 was discovered in 1927 in the possession of the Morsome Space Society, an organization dedicated to astrological research, following a raid on their headquarters due to bootlegging charges. Notes recovered during the operation indicated that the bootlegging had been done to finance 240. It was found inside the home and taken as evidence by the UU. Its extra-normal capabilities were not discovered until 3 years later, when an evidence clerk casually blew into it and was thrown across the room, suffering a broken nose and 3 fractured ribs. 240 was immediately transferred to the Foundation, while a non-functional replica was handed over to the UU. Due to the age and relative obscurity of 240, it was not difficult to manufacture documentation discrediting it as a hoax. Addendum. Using fiber optic camera technology, Foundation researchers were able to place cameras within the mouthpiece during flight. Over the course of the examination, the camera recorded a location in space which appeared very similar to the solar system. However, the Earth and Moon were missing, and Venus had several possibly artificial satellites around it. All orbits were moving notably faster at a scale similar to the scale of the input-output of 240. Further testing is currently being conducted. Okay, so even though it's all, hey, it's a breath-powered flying machine, it sounds like what's actually happening is you breathe into it and it activates an alternate universe where there's not Earth and everyone lives on Venus. I don't know why this would make a piece of wood fly, but I'm not a part of the Foundation, I'm just reading about it. So, good home cooking, underline and everything. Safe? Safe. Looks nice enough. Or is it a book? SCP-241 is to be kept at Site-19 using standard operating procedures for containing safe class, book, and manuscript type SCP. See document 24153H. With the following additional conditions. 241 must be kept open on a flat surface with restraints across opposing pages of the open book to keep it from closing accidentally. Containment devices must be checked at least once a week for structural integrity. Any anomalies must be reported immediately to Site Command. Sorry. Access to 241 is restricted. Any and all usage of 241 must be logged. 241 must be transported in an authorized book stand such that it cannot accidentally be closed in transit. In the event SCP-241 is open outside of a testing environment, the last person to have touched it must report to the nearest infirmary, and a disposable dude must close and reopen it. Okay. SCP-241 appears as a normal book 33 by 23 by 3.5 centimeters entitled Good Home Cooking. The cover of 241 is a red and white checkerboard pattern with the title in simple black letters on the front and spine. When open, it contains 99 recipes sorted into typical sections of a cookbook. Many of these recipes include a picture of the dish that is invariably appetizing, and a small percentage will call for rarer exotic ingredients. Whenever 241 is opened by a subject known as the target, different from the one who last opened it, i.e. the previous target, the recipes contained in the book change. Okay. Preliminary investigation concluded that if the target eats a dish prepared from one of the recipes in 241, that person soon dies from apparent anaphylactic shock. Others who eat the same dish are not similarly affected. Testing has been authorized to determine the exact nature of 241's effects. 241 appears to be impervious to getting dirty, or at least to minor damage. For example, sauces splashed onto his pages disappear almost immediately, and torn pages and nicks on the cover were repaired within seconds. Testing on the limits of 241's durability are not authorized without approval from Data Expunged and Data Expunged. Research on 241 continues, including potential interaction with other SCP items. For more information on current experimentation, please see the supplemental testing log. I'm gonna check that out because I'm curious. But for the meantime, in light of recent test results with 241, no further testing on personnel without pre-existing food allergies is authorized without level 4 security clearance. Testing may continue on personnel with pre-existing food allergies as long as the documentation of said allergies has been filled with data expunged. 05 somebody. Directive 241-S09. Reclassification of 241 to Euclid class is denied. Honestly, the cookbook? Leave it in its room and everything's fine. It's no one else's fault if you don't know what you're allergic to and don't bother to find out beforehand. Unless you're cooking for your significant other, then you'd better know. Cross-testing 241 with other SCPs will be considered on a case-by-case basis. Exposure to 282 has already been considered and denied. Now, which one was 282 again? Is that the weird lizard that no one can kill? Yep, that is the weird lizard that no one can kill. Okay, cool. Why would they want to have the... Oh, right, they probably want to see what it would cook if it touched the book. I don't know why they want to know that, but the Foundation became aware of SCP-241 in April 2000-something while investigating reports of a Black Widow in blank blank named blank blank. Miss Blank had been married 4 times and all of her husbands had died shortly after eating a meal at home. However, since authorities never found evidence of foul play, Miss Blank was never charged of any crime. Subsequent interviews with Mrs. Blank by Foundation personnel revealed the existence of 241, at which time 241 was seized by Foundation agents. She revealed that she had first realized there was something unusual with it when data expunged. See document data expunged for transcripts of interviews with Mrs. Blank. Okay, initial testing log. I've already opened that. So, to determine the effects of the recipes on subjects that either cannot eat or do not require sustenance, approval was given to cross-test it on 1770. Upon subject opening the book, the contents were identical to before it was closed previously. This confirms results of test 241-23 in which 241 does not respond to inorganic subjects. Now then. Okay, so... all tests on 241 were carried out in the test kitchens at Site 19 using disposable dues for test subjects unless otherwise indicated. So, chosen from general population, no unusual traits. Procedure. The book was presented, they were presented with 241 while closed and instructed to open it, choose a recipe, prepare it, and eat it while giving feedback the entire process. Results. Before exposure, they declared that he had never cooked anything more complicated than ramen noodles. Subject opened the book, reporting nothing unusual. Subject looked through recipes in 241, choosing sauteed scallops in a white wine sauce. They prepared the sauteed scallops from the recipe in 241 and when complete remarked that he did not know he could do that. Subject declared the prepared dish smelled fantastic and while eating it declared, "This is the best thing I've ever eaten." 3 minutes after completing the meal, he started showing symptoms of anaphylactic shock. He was treated with emergency doses of epinephrine, but the treatment was not effective. He died from anaphylactic shock 6 minutes afterwards. A subsequent examination of 241 revealed that 81 of its recipes called for shellfish. 241 was left open. Results are not consistent with previous descriptions of the effects. Next time. Chosen from general population, no known allergies to scallops or shellfish. Procedure. Still open from the last test, instructed to not close it. Find the sauteed scallops recipe, prepare it, eat it while giving feedback. Before exposure, expressed doubt that he'd be able to prepare it. After preparing it, expressed surprise that he had done so, similarly to the reaction of 241A. Said that the dish smells pretty good. While eating, they declared the dish was pretty good, and again expressed surprise that he had cooked it. They did not suffer anaphylactic shock or any other adverse effect after completing the meal. Post-test observation of the subject revealed no long-term effects from eating the dish. The book was left open. Results are consistent with previous descriptions of the effects of 241. Suspect that 241 may somehow improve the cooking skill of whoever is preparing the dish. Okay, subjects C and D were chosen for the population. Both report no skill in cooking and no allergies to shellfish. Procedure. 241 was still open from test 2. C was instructed to not close it, find the sauté scallops, transcribe it to a sheet of paper. In a separate kitchen, D was given the transcribed recipe and instructed to prepare and eat the dish prepared. Subject C found and transcribed the recipe without incident. The transcribed recipe was visually compared to the recipe in 241 and confirmed to be identical. Book left open. Subject displayed no adverse effects from the interaction with 241. Subject 241D was given the transcribed recipe and attempted to prepare the sauté scallops, but experienced difficulty and frustration, several times declaring, "I told you guys I can't cook!" The completed dish did not look or smell nearly as good as in previous tests. Subject balked at eating this, saying it smells like probably shit, but was persuaded to eat it by data expunged. They ate approximately 40% of the meal before stating, "I'm gonna be sick," at which time they threw up. Subject was instructed to finish the meal, but they responded data expunged. Termination of subject but considered but rejected in favor of further testing. More evidence that 241 can improve the cooking skill of its user. Subject D retained for further testing. Okay, so that's bogus that they would kill her for not wanting to eat bad cooking? So, 241, this subject D again, still open from test 3. They were instructed to not close the book, find the sauté scallops recipe, prepare it, eat it while giving feedback. They protested at having to eat her own cooking, but was persuaded to cooperate with the promise that she would not have to eat the resultant dish if it turned out like in the previous test. She expressed skepticism, but proceeded to prepare the sauté scallops recipe. While cooking the dish, subject experienced none of the difficulty she experienced from the previous test, instead expressing the now familiar surprise that her cooking was turning out so well. The complete dish looked and smelled similar to the results of test 2, but it was not nearly as reluctant to eat it, declaring, "Not bad at all." Subject did not appear to suffer any adverse effects after eating the dish. During post-testing interviews, asked how she was able to prepare the scallops during this test when the results of the previous test were so unappetizing. Subject stated that she did not know, only that once she started cooking the dish, it became perfectly clear to her how to do it. Subject did not appear to have any additional knowledge of cooking, and even had trouble remembering the cooking technique she used in this test. There is now little doubt that it can turn people who know nothing about cooking into gourmet chefs, at least for the dishes being prepared. Okay, subjects E and D, or E and F, chosen for general population, known allergy to peanuts, demonstrated considerable skill as a chef. E was presented with 241 while closed and instructed to open it and choose a recipe. F was then instructed to prepare the selected meal from 241. The prepared dish was given to E, who was then asked to eat it. E opened the book, and while looking through the recipes offered, stated that all the recipes called for peanuts, adding, "Peanuts messed me up something fierce." Subject found a few recipes that did not include peanuts, and selected an Australian carrot cake. F prepared the carrot cake from 241 and remarked that the finished product was better than he expected. The cake was presented to E, who started eating it without prompting or hesitation. They stated that the cake was the best thing they've ever eaten and ate nearly half the cake, claiming satiation. Within 2 minutes, they started showing symptoms of anaphylactic shock, and administered epinephrine, ineffective, died. The recipes in 241 were examined, and 85 of the 99 recipes called for peanuts or peanut products, but the Australian carrot cake was not one of them. The carrot cake and 7 other recipes included lupin flour. A quick search found that lupin flour can induce an anaphylactic reaction in those who suffer from peanut allergies. The remaining 6 recipes called for more exotic ingredients. 2 called for date expunge, while the other 4 asked for date expunge respectively. 241 remained open. The remaining half of the cake was saved for further testing. Analysis of reactions of E and F were both consistent with prior observations. The selection of recipes supports the theory that 241 somehow determines the substance that the target is most allergic to and offers recipes to specifically induce a fatal reaction in the target. Contacted data expunged for analysis of the 6 exotic recipes. KF, data expunged. F was instructed to prepare the 6 dishes that contained neither peanuts nor lupin flour. The dishes were turned over to data expunged for analysis. The 6 recipes were transcribed and turned over to data expunged. Results: data expunged. Analysis: data expunged. Subject F showed no apparent ill effects from preparing 7 different dishes from 241 in quick succession. Recommend retaining subject to study long-term effects of secondary exposure to 241. It just keeps going. Okay, so let's see. Known to have allergy to peanuts, instructed to eat the remaining cake. They asked if it contained peanuts, and they were assured that it did not. They stated they didn't much like carrot cake and was told data expunged. They started eating it, remarking that it was pretty good, actually. They consumed approximately 75% of it before declaring satiation. After 7 minutes, they started showing signs of anaphylactic shock. Epinephrine was administered, and they were stabilized. They recovered, although recovery time was somewhat longer than expected. It appears that although the recipes from 241 are potentially hazardous to anyone susceptible to the allergen in question, the recipes are most potent against the target. Results from 12 and 13 are encouraging to data expunge for data expunged. Last one. So, subject H was chosen from general population, no food allergies. Told to open it and leave it open. Analysis of 241 shows 79 of the recipes on the page call for chicken, eggs, or egg-based products. 15 of the remaining recipes call for eggs from data expunged. The other 5 called for data expunged, and the 5 recipes transcribed by data expunged and turned over to data expunged. H stated that she had never experienced any problems eating eggs before. Subject was presented with 12 hard-boiled chicken eggs and instructed to eat them. Subject asked for salt and pepper, granted, and proceeded to eat the eggs. While eating the third egg, subject started complaining of stomach pain. Subject was instructed to continue eating, she begrudgingly continued. Upon ingesting her 7th egg, she collapsed on the floor, doubled over in pain. Within 60 seconds, she started showing signs of anaphylactic shock. Epinephrine was administered, stabilized, recovered within the expected recovery time for such an episode. We now have evidence that 241 somehow induces or amplifies an allergy in the target when it's open. This ability would explain how 241 is able to cause an allergic reaction in targets without pre-existing food allergies. Okay, cool. So, that means that whoever opens the book first, whether or not they were sick with something, will become sick with whatever it has decided they should be sick from. And that was so long, I feel like we don't really need to read this one anymore. So now there's the self-cleaning pool, animation, ice fog jar, SCP RPG, prophetic projector, and a harmless kitten. We're 26 minutes in, let's see how this goes. Okay, so, well, it's safe. SCP-242 was kept in a home located in blank, NM, I'm drawing a blank home, what was it, New Mexico? Procured by the Foundation on blank blank blank. The home is unremarkable and is inhabited by Dr. Blank and Dr. Blank, who pose as a married couple with no children. The backyard is defined along its perimeter with a cinder block wall approximately 2 meters high, in accordance with the homes in the general vicinity. The pool is monitored at all times by a single level 1 guard who also covers as the couple's live-in cook. Human monitoring was added after Incident 242-1. I hope it tells us what that was. Swimming or wading in the pool is strongly discouraged, and any access to the pool by anyone other than disposable dudes for experimental reasons is forbidden. Description: the original owner of the home where 242 is located was an out-of-state landlord who had problems keeping the place rented. After retiring, he moved there but disappeared after only 3 days. 242 was a swimming pool approximately 4.5 meters wide by 9 meters long, with a depth ranging from 1 meter deep on both ends to 1.5 meters deep in the center, and a total volume of approximately 53,000 liters. It has a dual waterfall feature, an end pool vacuum unit, and stairs on one end. What does that do? I don't know much about swimming pools. Any substance when placed into the pool will eventually be transmuted into sterile water, which will remain sterile even after being removed from 242 and introduced to a non-sterile environment. A sample taken from 242 and poured into a container of water that had been tinted with red food color did not mix, but rather stayed together as a non-miscible bubble. Or miscible? Whatever. I've never seen that word before. Subsequent examination of a sample showed them to be nothing more than pure sterile water. A length of time required for the transmutation to complete is dependent on the nature of the substance placed in the 242. Ordinary river water sample from Blank, New Mexico was completely sterilized in 7 minutes. Stagnant pond water taken from Blank, New Mexico was sterilized in 18 minutes. 50,000 liters of coal tar was converted over the course of 12 days. While the pool contains nothing but sterile water, there is no apparent action of any of the features in the pool. Once a non-water substance is placed into the pool, the water jets and waterfall will come on even if disconnected from any power source. The pool vacuum, if attached, will also activate and drive around the bottom of the pool even through extremely viscous liquids. There is no cycling of water into or out of the filtration system. Pipes leading to the filtration system have been completely removed and shown to be empty and dry while pool contents were being sterilized. Stagnant water, time 0 minutes. Stagnant water, 9 minutes. Stagnant water, 16 minutes. Stagnant water, 18 minutes. Dang. Incident 242-1 on blank blank blank, during a time when the home was vacant but being monitored by a hidden video camera, a man and a woman apparently in their early 20s scaled the rear wall and gained access to the 242. They proceeded to undress and go swimming along with two vinyl inflatable rafts acquired from the shed in the backyard. After the water jets came on, the female was startled and indicated she wanted to leave. The male claimed that it was just the automatic timer coming on to clean the pool, and there was nothing to worry about. The couple continued to swim and engage in intimate activities. 24 minutes after the jets started, it, the female was heard to say that the water was really warm and made her feel tingly. The male agreed, and they both climbed onto their respective rafts and fell asleep holding hands. 29 minutes after the jet started, both of the rafts popped within 4 seconds of each other, and the couple was again immersed completely in the water. At this time, significant frothing of the water began, with a deep red color being given off from the subject's locations. Subjects were heard to scream loudly and both attempted to exit the pool. Before exit was possible, the couple went under the surface, the frothing stopped, and the pool went from red to clear approximately 48 seconds later. The decision was made to institute a lifeguard at the pool. After 2 weeks, a story was leaked to the press that the couple had eloped to an unknown location somewhere in Mexico. Note: the use of 242 for possible disposal of any SCP-related materials that are difficult to manage is being considered at this time. Contact Dr. Blank for details and/or permission for testing. What was this one? Safe? Okay, I feel like, at the very least, this one should be Euclid, because, okay, it's a swimming pool in a backyard and they're pretending the house is owned and people should be staying out of the house because it's somebody else's property. But people that snuck into that house, went skinny dipping, presumably had sex in the pool, and then turned into water. That should at least be Euclid. It should be Euclid until there's better walls around the house. Okay, so, animation. Which is safe. SCP-243 is to be secured in the geometric center of a standard containment cell no less than 16 by 16 by 16 meters. The cell is to be connected to an adjacent room of similar size and composition by one standard lockable door. All exits to the cells are to be kept locked and guarded against unauthorized access. No eligible group more than 4 identical inanimate objects, see below, is permitted into the containment cell, nor any item capable of producing such a group, except as necessary for testing. Personnel entering the cell are subject to search and seizure of unauthorized multiples. Objects animated by 243 are to be removed to the adjacent room for study. Undesirable animated items are to be disposed of promptly, probably in that swimming pool, or by incineration if appropriate. In the event that 243 is applied to other SCP objects or to other items of similar value, the flock is to be separated and held in standard safe or Euclid class inanimate object lockers, item lockers, until the effects wear off. Following Incident 243-2, bringing eligible groups of weapons, easily weaponized objects, or dry cell batteries into the containment is strictly forbidden. Is that on here? That is not on here. I guess we don't get to find out what went down there. Umbrellas under the effect of displaying simple flocking behavior during containment breach. Okay, so living umbrellas just decided they wanted to be trees. Got it. Also, sorry about the sniffly. Like I said, my nose is kind of nyeh. 243 is a mass of small dry cell batteries. Oh. All fused at their negative terminals into an ellipsoid approximately 30 centimeters long by 10 centimeters in diameter. The arrangement is semi-fluid. The batteries may be rearranged by applying gentle pressure, though it is far more difficult to remove them from the central cylinder. 243's unusual properties manifest when an eligible group of objects is brought into its active zone, an area of indeterminate shape extending no more than 7.3 by 2 or less than 2.5 meters from the center of the item. The active zone's precise extent and shape change from minute to minute. An eligible group consists of 5 or more identical or nearly identical inanimate objects. Nearly identical items are those that a casual observer cannot easily distinguish based on attributes other than overall color. A former complex flock of umbrellas, now a fused aggregate. Okay. Eligible group members animate when brought into the active zone, displaying unusual flexibility and powers of levitation and locomotion. They acquire a few basic instincts including self-preservation and variously complex flocking behavior. Object flocks range from simple separation, alignment, cohesion groups like flocks of birds or shoals of fish, to aggregates involving role specialization and formation of discrete subunits. I feel like there should be a hyphen in there. Animated objects also, secondarily to flocking, tend to behave in ways thematically appropriate to an object of their type. Umbrellas form large shades, chairs make themselves available as seating, and knives seek objects to cut, etc. An item separated from the flock wanders aimlessly or searches for other flock members. Approximately 4 hours after separation, the item goes dormant and loses all apparent unusual properties. At this point, reuniting it with its group renders it animate again. 25 minutes after going dormant, it becomes permanently inanimate, losing all unusual properties and reverting to a normal object of its type. Whether intact or missing members, a flock deanimates permanently 24 plus or minus, give or take 2 hours after initial exposure to 243. Flocks displaying complex shoaling behavior frequently fuse upon deanimation into aggregates representative of that behavior. Addendum: 243 came to the Foundation's attention following a series of suspicious incidents involving blank animation studios. The unusually fluid, natural motion depicted in the cartoons produced what not ordinarily have attracted attention, but data expunged every desk lamp in the facility data expunged. The effects wore off in the usual 24 hours. Class A amnesiacs were administered to the animators involved and their families, all of whom remain under surveillance. Future blank productions are to be monitored carefully for evidence of further interference. Addendum 2. Given the release of Blank Animation Studios' film Knick Knack prior to the containment of 243, in which a flamingo was one of several characters, it is currently hypothesized that 243 may be a possible origin for 1507. The style of movement observed in 1507 instances matches movement observed from the character in the film, and the effects of 243 would explain the former's flocking behaviors. If 243 is the origin of 1507, it is currently unknown why 1507 has yet to deanimate, or if it will deanimate in accordance with 243's behavior in the future. Wonder what that one is. Sounds like it's a flamingo. Okay, so Ice Fog Jar. Let's see how long Ice Fog Jar is. That's not that long. Okay. I think I'll stop at Ice Fog Jar though, because 1 is getting a bit difficult to read because of my nose being stuffed, and 2 is just about the point where I would be stopping anyway. So, when not in testing, 244-1 is to be placed in a room with its own thermostat. Oh, it's also Euclid. Kept at a temperature of no less than 38 centimeters. This room must also have its own ventilation system to provide constant air circulation. 244-1 will rest on the top of a scale attached to an alarm so that any abrupt changes in weight from its cap's sudden removal or from its displacement may be immediately detected. If the alarm goes off, 1 is to be immediately retrieved, capped, and placed back on the scale. In the event that 1 spends longer than 4 hours uncapped and active before retrieval is possible, initiate procedure 244-21-23B. 244-1 is a Tunisian-style earthenware jar made of common ceramics mixed with traces of data expunged and decorated with silver filigree. The inside of 1 always has an internal temperature of negative 37 degrees Celsius and 125% humidity, regardless of external conditions. How does that work? How can it be that cold but also humid? A person handling 1 invariably describe it as cold to the touch. 1 includes a cap of identical make and style to the jar itself. When 1 is uncapped, condensed water vapor will flow from its mouth. The rate at which the vapor emanates increases if 1 is left lying on its side or suspended upside down. This vapor is identical in composition to ice fog, with a temperature of negative 37 degrees Celsius and 125% humidity as it exits 1. Over time, this fog will disperse through whatever area 1 is in, lowering ambient temperatures and raising humidity levels proportionately. The amount of time it takes for 1 to fill an area with fog varies depending on the size of the space, the amount of moisture already in the air, and the temperature at the time 1 is opened. If 1 is left uncapped outside of any structure, it will still produce a water vapor and lower the surrounding temperature. However, the effect may be considerably diminished or enhanced by the effects of the sun, wind, local topography, and/or local vegetation. In any space where 1 has changed the environmental temperature and humidity to negative 37 degrees Celsius and 125% humidity, there is a chance of encountering 2, directly proportional to the amount of time that the area has been fogged over. 2 is a mobile gaseous entity visible only as a dense cloud of grayish fog. Whether it simply uses one's own fog as camouflage or is actually a part of said fog is still undetermined. Thermal imaging shows that 2 is far colder than its surrounding environment. How 2 achieves locomotion is not known, but testing and observation has made it clear that 2 usually remains motionless unless there's a source of heat nearby. 2 is attracted to any source of heat energy and will move to envelop such sources. Because of 2's own inordinately cold internal temperature, any object that comes into direct contact with it usually flash freezes. Biological heat sources, including humans, are invariably killed by the flash freezing effect, and mechanical or electronic devices freeze ice over. 2 appears to grow in size as it consumes thermal energy. In a sufficiently large beclouded area, there may be multiple instances of 2. 2 will not attempt to consume heat sources with a temperature equal or greater than 600 degrees Celsius and will actively move away from such sources if they are brought closer to it. For this reason, 2 is easily repelled with burning wood or other combustible fuel sources. 2 has been observed to disperse if exposed to great concentrations of heat in a short period of time. History. One was first discovered in the basement of a recently emptied Chaos Insurgency-occupied military base, where it completely filled the basement level with ice fog and at least 2 manifestations of 2. It was retrieved by Dr. Morris with the assist of Mobile Task Force Beta 62. It is unknown whether the Chaos Insurgency had placed one in the basement as some sort of diversionary tactic, or if they themselves were looking for it. Addendum: whatever 2 was composed of, it is certainly not normal water vapor. At those temperatures, mere water would simply become a solid, as indeed would most gases. However, taking samples of 2's material has proven difficult, as it is both gaseous and freezes most devices applied to it. I suspect that this may be related to the data expunged in 1, but studying that mineral has a host of problems all its own. Dr. Morris. So, definitely going to have to stop here. Next up will be SCP RPG, Prophetic Projector, Harmless Kitten, and we'll see how we go from there in 40 minutes. So, this has been Anachi Sasuke. This was, I believe, episode 60 of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. If you liked it, a like and a subscribe would be groovy. If you didn't, you need to do either one of those things. So, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.